Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Whoops, I've got y'all a little bit lopsided. There we go. Well, alright, today's video is just going to be on a quick look that you could just do for work. You could do it for a night out with friends, pretty much anything. I don't typically do anything this heavy every day. Usually I'm that person, I get up for class, moisturize my face, maybe throw on some powder and leave, but I tend to at least do something similar to this, like whenever I have clients or if I have anything going on at school and whatnot. So if you guys want to see how I got this look, you guys just keep watching. Hey guys, we're going to go ahead and dig into what we're doing today. I have my hair just in a braid. I've been at work all day and it's rainy. I already have my eyebrows done. I know a lot of you really wanted to see like an eyebrow tutorial or how to go about that. And that tends to take up quite a bit of time, so I think that I'm just gonna probably do just a separate video for that. But now that I've got my eyebrows done and my eyelids are primed, we're gonna go ahead and dig right into eyeshadow. I usually do my eyeshadow first just because if any fallout happens, I don't have to worry about it sticking to my foundation or anything like that. Sorry, I have brushes down here. And so I just like to go ahead and get that out of the way. And where's my brush that I'm needing? Alright, we're going to go ahead and dig in, and we're going to go into the Sweet Peach palette by Too Faced. I love this palette. It smells great. All of theirs, like if they do the peach palette or the chocolate bar, it smells like peaches in a chocolate bar, which is probably why I love it the most. But it has colors that would really work for everyone. It's not got, it's not going to limit you to anything. You can see these a little bit closer. You've got some really pretty pigmented colors. I think I may go in with this green today. But it is a really pretty palette, and it's not super expensive, but I mean, it is just a little bit more pricey. I tend to only splurge on foundation and eyeshadows just because I have sensitive skin and my eyes are sensitive, and so I have to be careful about just using whatever's, at the drugstore. So we're going to go in. We're going to go ahead and go in with a transition shade, and this is the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette. It's, not the Morphe palette, but it's her collection with Morphe of her brushes, and this is a JH35, and you can just kind of see that it's got a tapered end. It's mainly for blended out transition colors. You could use it on your crease. It's whatever, accommodates your eyes and your eye shape. And so I think that I'm actually going to go in with the shade Georgia right here, and we're just going to dab that on the brush and kind of knock off that excess, and we're just gonna go in and blend this shade up. You don't want to go right in your crease, but I am blending it just up towards my eyebrow, just so we'll have a good transition color base. I'm so glad I got this ring light. Cindy is the best. I done prom makeup at her salon, and I told her I was really struggling with doing filming and whatnot because I don't have good lighting, and she just handed me a ring light. Alright. We've almost got this blended out, and then we're going to go to the other side. And I just usually, to blend, I do circular motions, and then I do just back and forth to make sure that there's no harsh lines or anything like that. And you can see how that is blended. It's not really like on my lid or anything, but it is blended up just towards the eyebrow, and it's not super dark, but you're going to layer darker colors under it, and so it really just gives it a nice blended smoke effect. And we are going to go on to the other side now and do the same thing. Just your eyebrows and your eyeshadow will never look exactly the same. They just won't. So if that's what you're thinking, then just don't worry about it. As long as you get the shape and like the shading blended out right. I mean, don't really worry about if you get it any messy on your lid or anything like that, because we're going to go in and clean that up with concealer. So just worry about getting it blended out. It doesn't matter if it looks messy, because we're going to clean it all up and we'll get them as close as possible. you guys can see we've pretty much got the shape evened out. I'm not really worried about down here in my edges or any fallout because we will clean that up with concealer. Okay, now that we have that blended up tar, you know, just the transition area, nothing too heavy or too light, I think that I'm actually going to go into my crease with this shade right here called Caramelized. And we are going to use the same brush just because it has that tapered end. We're just not going to blend it up quite as much. Get that on my brush there. Alright, and then we're just going to go in right here in the crease area. And I usually just do back and forth motions just to kind of make sure it's right there in the crease. And I just darken it as dark as I want to go. And pull it over. And we are just gonna get that in the crease. And I'm not really buffing this shade upwards or anything. I'm just blending it out in that area. You don't want to completely cover that transition shade, but you do want to get it deepened up. So now you can kind of see this eye versus this eye. We've got this kind of deepened up right here. And I'm just going to try and blend out this one little spot I see right here. Alright, and now we're going to move on to the other eye and get it done as well. Same thing. Okay, we've about got this one evened out as well. And like I said, I'm not really worried about what gets on my lid or if anything gets on the outer corner or anything, because we're actually going to put some more primer. I use concealer usually to prime my eyes from the get-go, but we're actually going to use the Fenty primer and we're going to apply it right here in this section just to hold this pigment. I think I want to use that green just to see how it's going to look, but we will get this blended out first. Okay, Beauty eye primer. We're just gonna follow the shape of our eyelid, and this isn't gonna matter if it looks kind of messy. It's not really a cut crease or anything. We just want pigment to hold better right in there. Same thing with this eye. I start at my corner and I usually pull outwards. You can see now where that is lined out. And then I'm just gonna press that down. Alright, and now we're actually gonna go over that lid with a pigment, and I'm gonna use, this is the Morphe. I'm not sure what brush number this is, but it is from just the classic Morphe set that comes in the actual holder and everything. I think it was like a 20-piece set maybe, but you can see it's just a little bit wider, and it's just good. I use this typically just to press pigment down on my eyelids, especially if it's something that has a little bit more fallout. And I think that I actually want to go in with, bless her heart, right here, this green shade. I'm not really one for greens, but that one just seems really pretty to me, and so we're gonna press that down into the primer that we have base. And I'm not really blending, I'm just mashing this down over where we primed that lid. And you can see I'm not really worried about this right here being super clean, because we're actually going to go back with the first two shades that we used and we're going to buff out that line. Right now I'm just worried about getting this lid completely press down, and we will clean up the fallout in just a second. Go ahead and get this pressed in on the other one. Now that we have that compact on the eyelid, we are just going to go back in with the shades Cobbler mixed with a little bit of the shade Caramelized, and we are just going to blend out that line where that green was. So you're just going to go right back in that crease, not any higher, not any lower, and just buff that out. You can see that looks a lot more clean. Okay, and now that we have that done and we have those shades blended out, I am just going to take, where is it at? I'm actually going to take, I think I'm just going to go with this brush. I got it in a palette that I got from Anastasia. I think I got it in the Sultry palette. And I love this brush. I use it for everything. You can really use it for anything. And we're just going to go in, and I think I actually want to use, we're actually going to go in with the Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice. We're going to go in with this shade right here. I'm not sure what it's called, but you can see the pigment of it. It's really pretty. It doesn't go on that dark either, so I like to use it on my brow bone. And so that is actually what we're going to do. We're just going to dip into that, knock off that excess, and we're just going to go in right above that transition shade. And then I'm actually going to go in with just the pearl white shade right here. And I'm going to go in with this end of the brush. And we're just going to pat this in right on the corner. We're not going to take it below the entire brow bone like the one we just did. But we are just going to pat it in below it. Alright, and then I think that I'm also going to brush off this. We're going to go in with this brush again, what we used for the pigment on the eyelids. And I think I want to add just a little bit of that same shade right there again, just to kind of towards the inner part of the eyelid. And you're just going to pack it down. Alright, and that is probably going to be it for the eyes. You can see everything blended out really nicely, so I'm actually going to apply lashes off camera, and then we will jump into foundation and base product. Okay guys, now that I have my eyes done and my lashes are applied and they've pretty much dried down, we are going to jump into foundation. I've already primed my face. I used Baby Skin by Maybelline. I really like this one. You can get it at Walmart, Target, or any drugstore. It is silicone based, so you can tell it definitely has a silky touch to it. It tends to hide my pores well. I have pores that'll come out, you know, if I use a certain type of foundation that may have a texture to it, or just different formulas. And so I always go in with something to cover my pores. And I found that that one actually works just as well as NYX Angel Primer, and I like it a lot better than Benefit's Pore Primer as well. Foundation today, I think that we're just going to jump in with the Tarte Face Tape Foundation. I am in the shade Light Medium Sand. I like this foundation a lot. I use a lot of the same formula, like if you've ever used the Shape Tape Concealer. It's supposed to be a foundation, but just with that same coverage. You can see it just, I mean, like, it goes on really creamy, but it dries down really nice. It dries down into a matte, a full coverage matte. And so we're actually just going to put a few drops of this. I don't do full pumps. I just barely let it come out in droplets, and then I'm going to go in with a damp beauty blender. This is actually not a beauty blender brand, but it is the sponge by e.l.f. And we are just going to press this in, and you can see how well it covers. You know, I have some redness through here and on this side. And so I'm going to blend out this side first, just so you guys can see the coverage of it and how well it works. And I am going to pull down my neck. This is a little light for me, but we're going to go in with bronzers today, so this will even out. Okay, now you can kind of see this side of coverage versus this side. It covers redness really well if you have acne. I recommend this foundation and definitely this one by Bare Minerals. It's just super light for me right now because I've been tanning. But this is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro, and it's the Performance Wear Liquid Foundation. And it is probably my favorite liquid foundation I've tried. Face Tape isn't a close second. I just tend to like this one because it takes a lot less and it blends out and looks a lot more natural. So if you have acne, I definitely recommend both of those foundations to you. And we're going to just blend out this side now that you guys have seen. Alright, and now that we have that blended out, I am going to just go in with concealer. Really liking the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. It, along with this one, which is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, you can tell I use this one a lot. I'm actually almost out. These two have the closest coverage that Tarte Shape Tape does. I've tried a lot of concealers to see if anything was cheaper that worked as well as the Tarte Shape Tape, and nothing really just gave me that consistency, but these two do. This one is $6. You can get it at Walmart, and they have a hydrating formula and a matte formula. This is the matte. I have a darker shade in the hydrating. The only thing different really is they're both matte, but this is just not going to dry down and crack as much as this one might if you were to apply too much. But those are my favorites along with this one. We are going to go in with the Maybelline Fit Me today, and we're just going to go down the bridge of our nose and right here under our eyes. We go back in with our beauty blender, and we're just going to blend this down. We're not really going to blend it past the nose. We're just going to pat it in right there to give some extra coverage because we're going to set it with translucent powder. And we are just going to go in under our eyes and get this blended out. Alright, and now that that's blended out, you can see how well that covers. It tends to cover all of my redness and dark circles. That we have that applied, we're actually just going to go in under it, and we're going to dip just the tip of our beauty blender into some translucent powder. This is the Airspun translucent powder. You can get it from Walmart as well. I love it, and Wet n Wild also has a translucent powder out, and it's just as equally great. It's not scented like this one is. So if you're someone that's kind of sensitive to smells, I would definitely recommend the Wet n Wild translucent powder. And we're just going to dab the excess off of this, and we're just going to go down the bridge of our nose, and we're just going to let it set for a second. So I just get the bare minimum on my beauty blender, and I just do it exactly like I did on my foundation. I just dab it into that concealer under the eye. I just go in with what's left around my nose, under it. I tend to get oily. I have dry skin, but if I do get oily, it's always right in here and down the bridge of my nose. So I always make sure to apply powder to those areas. Alright, and now that that is on, we're going to go in with Bare Minerals Original Powder Foundation. I'm in the shade Medium Beige. And I love this stuff. It takes the bare minimum of it. But I found that it works well with pretty much any foundation that I've used. You could just buy this and pair it with L'Oreal Infallible foundation or pretty much any brand, whether it be drugstore or high-end. I find that it just meshes really well. And we're just going to tap off the excess. And we're just going to go in and set all through here, pretty much below where we applied that translucent powder. Okay, now that I've set my face with the Bare Minerals Original Foundation, we are going to do just a little bit of contouring today, just so you guys can kind of see the basics of it. I don't like doing anything too heavy. I don't like feeling, you know, like I have a lot of layers on my face or anything. So, we are actually going to go in. Wet n Wild has concealers, and I don't like them for under my eyes, but I do really like them for contouring. Here we go. Alright, this is the Photo Focus concealer, and I got it in just a little bit of a darker shade. And I'm trying to see if this is 84 5B Dark Cocoa. And so I don't like anything too dark. I just want something a little warmer. And like I said, I don't like this for under my eyes, but I do tend to use it just to contour on my face. And so we're just gonna line around this area, and we're going to contour. You want to, whenever you contour, you're creating a shadow, so you're wanting to slim your face. And so we are going to go in just under our cheekbones. And I'm just going to add that line for right now. If I need to go in with some more, I can. And down the bridge of the side of our nose. So you can see where I have everything lined out. And we're just going to go back in with our Beauty Blender. And I'm going to start right here just to kind of show you guys what its purpose is. And I'm actually going to use like the rounded size, and we're just going to buff that. And you can see how it creates more of a shadow right here. On this side, it's nothing too dark. And we're going to do the same to this side. Same as around the hairline. We're just going to press this back into the hairline. And that is about even. Now we're just going to blend out this down our nose. You can see that just slimmed up my nose some. And it's not too dark, so it blends more natural, which is why I like this shade. I get it every time that I run out. And we are still going to go in with the bronzer. I love Milani's Baked Bronzers. This is my favorite one. I've had this one forever. And it is the Soleil Baked Bronzer. It's shade 05. And you can see it has some gold pigments in it. And it looks really pretty You know, it's not anything too much. It'll just give you that sun-kissed look. And I'm actually not sure what brush this is, but you can get it at Walmart, and this is my go-to brush for bronzers. And we're just going to go in over that contour. Same with the other side. You can see that just slimmed up my nose some, and it's not too dark, so it blends more natural, which is why I like this shade. I get it every time that I run out, and so you can see now how that just kind of shaped out my face a little bit more and made everything look more slim. And we are still going to go in with the bronzer. I love Milani's Baked bronzers. This is my favorite one. I've had this one forever. And it is the Soleil Baked Bronzer. It's shade 05. And you can see it has some gold pigments in it. And it looks really pretty. You know, it's not anything too much. It'll just give you that sun-kissed look. And I'm actually not sure what brush this is, but you can get it at Walmart. And this is my go-to brush for bronzers. And we're just going to go in over that contour. Just to warm it up and blend it out some more. Same with the other side. And I just take what's left. I don't really go in anymore to go around my forehead. I just go in with what is left. Buff out that nose. And I take what is excess and go around my jawline. And you can see now how this just gives you a sun-kissed look. It's not anything too much or too dramatic, but it just shapes out your face. We are going to go ahead and go with blushes, and I'm going to use my favorite blush of all time today. This is my favorite one I've ever bought. It is also by Milani, and it is Blossom It Rose. And it is just a light. It's really good for the summertime. You don't want anything like too dark. And we're just going to go in, and I apply my blush. Where you apply your blush just kind of depends to your face shape. I don't really apply mine on the apples of my cheeks. I tend to go in on, like, you know, my cheekbones right here. And I just kind of pull down. Same with this side. And now for highlight, and then we are going to carve everything out with translucent powder, and I'm going to do my hair off camera. I got this in an Ipsy bag one time, and it's by a brand Estate. I've never used any of their other products, but this is Dew Me. And so we're just going to take a fan brush. This one's by Morphe, and we're just going to dip into this. We're going to apply that to the highs of our face. I like to apply it down the bridge of my nose, into the tip of my nose, and right in between my eyebrows going onto my forehead. And this just really, it helps. Whenever you highlight, you want to pull everything forwards. You're wanting to accentuate different parts of your face. And whenever you contour, you're just creating shadows to do that slimming effect. And for the last step, we are just going to I like using these angled sponges right here. You can get them at any drugstore. I actually have them in a bulk bag. I tend to use them on clients. And we're just going to press into this translucent powder and make sure everything is covered. You can see it holds a lot of product right there. And this is what we're going to use to carve out that contour we done. And so we're basically just going to go right here underneath it. And we're just going to press it in. And come forward, press it in, and we're going to let that sit for just a second. You can just see how it makes more of a line. It doesn't make anything look smeared or, you know, uneven. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other side. And we are just going to let that sit a few seconds. I don't contour every day. I really don't usually contour at all. I actually just use bronzers most of the time because I'm usually in a rush. But I contour on all my clients and whatnot. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys. I get a lot of questions about it. I want to show you guys just kind of what it does and what its purpose is. And now that this has sat, we're just going to take just a clean brush and we're just going to dust it off. That is about it for this. I'm going to do my hair off camera. And I'll probably apply my lipstick off camera, but I will let you guys know. I'm going to go in with, it's really, they're not the same brand, but it's my favorite ones to use together. And it is the Tarte Lip Paint, and it is in the shade Festival. And I'll actually line my lips with Glace by Bite. It's just it's a deeper nude, and it complements the lip paint really well. And so I make sure I line my lips with this, and then I just go in and apply the lip paint, and then after everything dries, I do the Fenty gloss. This is in the shade Fussy, and so you can see how pretty and creamy. I love their glosses. They have the best lip glosses I've ever tried. And so that is what we're going to do off camera, and then I will run you guys through all the products used one more time before we end it. Alright guys, my hair is finished and sprayed, and this is just a closer view of the finished look. I have misplaced my mascara, but usually after applying lashes, I would just go in at the roots of them and apply some. But I thought these blended pretty well, so you can just see how everything blended together. I would probably recommend this, like if you have a day where you're going out somewhere, if you have a night out with friends or anything like that. Usually I don't do this much on an everyday basis. A majority of the time I do the same foundation routine you've seen here. I just don't contour, and I usually don't wear eye makeup. I may apply like a bronzer, you know, like somewhere along in here to just give my eyes some color, but a majority of the time I don't usually go all out like this. But since you guys have been asking for a video, I thought I'd go ahead and make you guys one of something that you could use maybe for date night, job interview, anything like that. So I'm thankful that you guys tuned in, and I'm sorry for the quality of the video. I am working on getting a space set up so I can actually film, but since I have my ring light and you guys have been asking, I really wanted to just see how it would all work out. So if you guys liked this one, let me know what kind of video you'd like to see next in the comments below.